G'day everyone. Proud to say Bar Karate is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Bar Karate, the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where I get to hang out with some really cool sailors, but of course I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
BP.
G'day all, how's everyone going?
Yeah, good mate, good to see you.
Yeah, just
happy days.
Busy.
It's
happy
busy.
days.
Yeah, it's busy.
Always busy. No sailing, but just getting things organised. So that's basically where I'm at today.
Well, let's bring the other bloke in. We can talk about all this stuff that you two are up to.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Boss.
Kia ora, bros. Shit, how's the crap we spoke about last week, RE Rugby, having get absolutely belted. And then yesterday, I went to watch the rugby in quite a good area, let's say, on a 200-foot powerboat. Anyway, surrounded by the Kiwis. I did wear a black T-shirt just in case because I knew I had to leg stretch it across through the viaduct later in the day. So, and it's not as though I have a Wallabies jersey itself, but
I'll send you one.
I was kind of like that token little Aussie, token Bazza in the back corner. So when we'd score a try, I'm like, oh God,
Aussie,
am I going to go out alive?
I love it.
And then we got rolled in the end, and everyone's happy.
For our international listeners, obviously, the Bledisloe Cup, Australia v the All Blacks,
the K1s,
Rugby Union.
Mm-hmm.
Classic,
but classic. And so in saying that, in NZ, went for a cruise through the viaduct. Oh, it's nice area, you know.
It is lovely
everywhere.
Yeah, lovely.
So boats everywhere, people everywhere.
It's beautiful. And BP, you're about to abandon Australia as well, my friend.
Yeah, got a bit on. So heading over to the continent, over to Europe, and then we're going to we're stepping up and getting organised for a pretty serious couple of years, I think.
So, listeners, we're speaking a bit of code here. Nothing that makes much sense, but in saying, and I couldn't announce it last week, but the reason I am in NZ is the new role with Southern Spars.
Congratulations, man.
Yep, no, it's bloody good. It's a slick operation. The guys and girls on the floor there, floor, office, everything like that are just genuine. You'd almost think they're Aussies, to tell you the truth.
The amount of people that I've had just in conversations through my, just various chats I've had, all saw the post and have said, "Oh, and Bicey's gone to Southerns," and there's lots of people who. What's going on? But huge move for you, mate.
No, huge move. Good move. Love it.
I was sailing my fin yesterday because, I'm trying to learn how to sail a fin. And
attack. Yeah.
Coach boat pulls up alongside me. I'm thinking, oh, here we go, some free tips. And no, Bicey's gone to Southerns, has he? What's going on there?
So you sort of mentioned to me a couple of weeks ago that, we talked about getting Radix on board. And, you said specifically that I had to stop selling boats in regards to gaining sponsorship. Bicey, is it the same for you? So we're going to have Southerns on, are we?
Oh, 100%. Mate, anything I can do. By the way, we will not be talking about any other mast manufacturers going forward.
Cool.
No, 100%. Oh, I'd sell my left nut to make $1, boys. You know that.
So, yeah. Cool. All right, we're going to bring our guest in because this is going to be a great conversation. I'm really fired up about this one.
We've had a few theme, really, isn't it?
What is that?
Well, we got Bicey at Southerns, so it's all worthy chat.
Worthy chat, yeah. Well, you're going to have some interesting topics in the next few weeks, I reckon, BP. Yep. Anyway, our guest this week, a few people have reached out and asked us to get him on the show, so we did. He's a POM, national Neuro champ in the RS200s and the RS800s Endeavour Trophy winner, which is the champion of champions in the UK, where the 30 different national champs get together and race off. He's into his bike riding. He's into all sorts of stuff. But what he does do, even more importantly for us, he's got a YouTube channel called Mozzy Sails, Mozzzy, and he does full-on in-depth analysis of the America's Cup. So we were sort of
in discussion form.
In discussion form, yeah. And he presents brilliantly, and it's a great YouTube channel if you haven't caught onto it. And you know, with the Cup just about to kick off, the first of the events not far, mid-September, we're underway. We thought, let's get some focus in on the Cup and see what we don't know and bring in our guest. So welcome to the show, Tom Morris.
Cheers for having me. Yeah. Even though it's pretty early in the morning, glad to be here.
Well, as you just mentioned, Tom, it's not only early in the morning, but you're lacking a bit of sleep at the moment with a newborn in the house.
Yeah, it's been a fairly brutal last couple of weeks. Got a 2-week-old baby back in the house. I've just escaped down to the cabin at the end of the garden. So, actually, in a way, coming to speak about sailing at 7 o'clock in the morning for an hour is quite the light relief. So the alternative is chasing around an 18-month-old whilst trying to keep a 2-week-old baby happy and mum happy and stuff. So bit of therapeutical
bar karate. It's good for you.
Quite,
mate. Obviously, you know, we've been watching you on your YouTube channel. You know, Mozzy Sails. We're enjoying it. The in-depth stuff you do with the Cup, the stuff you do with the skiffs, all the different things that you are doing on there. Where does the passion come from you, you know, like why sailing for you?
I mean, I just think sailing's pretty much the perfect sport in terms of the division between, I don't know, I like the way races unfold in terms of strategy and tactics and all that. And I think it's got the right amount of just sheer luck. You know, anyone can have the day in it, but you know, it's all about decision making and processes. And if you do the right thing, you know, consistently, you'll get your results. And then off the water, all this kind of technical nature, it's got something to just completely fulfill your time. And I think it's a great thing away from the 9 to 5 as well. Just have a little area of your life, which is, you know, a little bit kind of controlled and, you know, where you can follow your own path as well. And obviously there's that, you know, even when you're not racing or competing, just out on the water and getting away with it. So there's just so many different elements and strands to the sport to enjoy. So keeping passionate about sailing's not an issue.
Did I see you started in a topper? Is that right?
Yeah. I think quite a lot of Brits do. So a junior sailing, that's what I did. Actually, I learned to sail. My family aren't sailors at all, but we used to go on holiday down to the southwest, and my dad was like, "Oh, we'll hire a sailing boat." Went down to local marina, told them we wanted to take out a boat, and they're like, "Do you know how to sail?" And he's like, "Absolutely not." Like, "Oh, you want to learn first?" So my dad took us away, and he just totally out of nowhere took the family on a little gravel pit in the northwest, and we learned to sail there. But I got into the racing side of it pretty quickly. I just said how straight away it kind of clicked in terms of the way races unfold and all that, and got a topper and started doing the little kind of junior circuits and stuff pretty quickly after learning.
Yeah, cool. When you hit the gravel pit, so to speak, was which seems a common path in the UK. Was it something straight away that you just loved, like, or was it what I'm trying to delve back when I think about it? Some kids start and next thing you know, it's 20 knots and they're nosediving, just hating life. Can you recall that first day? Was it just beautiful sunshine and things like that kind of led to, like, actually, I like this?
Beautiful sunshine. He was in the
Yeah,
UK.
Yeah,
no,
well, there's a couple of
careful
that
there.
in the northwest.
in the northwest. No, it was grey and wet. And to be honest,
Wearing a dry
that. Yeah, well, yeah. I used because my family didn't sail. I didn't really know what to wear. I was wearing like a cagoule, like waterproof top, some like waterproof, pull-up trousers from walking the dog, and a pair of wellies. Yeah. I looking back on it, I've got no idea why I liked it, because every part of it was horrendous. And now, as an adult, I sail at a pretty nice sailing club on the sea, a sunnier part of Britain, and yeah, you wouldn't catch me kind of doing that again. But yeah, at the time, I don't know. First of all, I love sailing on my own. I sail crude boats now majority of the time, but I like the freedom of being out on my own, and just thought it was crazy that I was allowed to control a boat and just sent out into a lake. So that part of it I always liked. The weather didn't really bother me too much. So yeah, but yeah, thinking back, I don't know why I liked it. It every part of it seemed a little bit grim looking back, but no, I just loved the independence of it.
Are you sure you're not just like a masochist in any way? Because the other thing I noticed is you love cycling, and I think looking through your results, I see you do pretty well on the hill climbs. I see you doing time trials. So you're picking the most painful elements of cycling. Like for me, going down a hill, I don't know why they don't do time trials down a hill, but anyway.
Well, they do. Mountain biking. You do mountain biking. They don't even pedal.
Oh,
Yeah, but you got to think too much.
Yeah, I'll kill myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I think, it clearly there's an element of bashing you. You're trying to punish yourself for something that happened in a past life.
Yeah, but to be honest, most of my best results when I was younger was always just because I'm prepared to suffer a little bit more than other people.
Yeah.
And I've never really regarded myself as that talented a sailor in many regards, but I was always reasonably fit and pretty determined. And that's, I don't know, same sort of thing in fact, road cycling, you don't really need anything else other than fitness and determination. There's not a lot of skill to it. A bit of tactics in the road racing, but yeah, like you said, on a hill climb, UK hill climb, it's just like 2 minutes of pure pain.
As you were growing up, Tom, did you have access to much sort of coaching sort of stuff, being coached, or was it all sort of self-taught? Because I mean, back in, I guess, our day, it was a lot more self-taught people than there are around now. Coaches are a lot more accessible. How did you go?
I was hugely lucky, actually, in that, I've already said my family aren't a sailing family at all. There's a few people from the local club who kind of, gave me a few wise words of wisdom, but actually when I started learning sail was just when Volvo got on board as a big sponsor, and the National Lottery got on board as a big sponsor of UK sailing.
This was huge in the UK, wasn't it?
Absolutely huge. So this is, going back just before Sydney Olympics. So when Shirley and Ben were having their breakthroughs and getting their funding at the top level, I was, literally just learning to sail, and that money pumped all the way down. And I think the year after, I'd only been sailing about 18 months, maybe 2 years, when they established regional squads, and I'd done a local event and got pulled into one of those squads. And to be honest, you only needed to really do a couple of events to get on one. They're pretty easy, and a lot of people just got invited along. But I mean, there's a lot of it gets a lot of flack, the RWA system, and I know they've changed it around now to be less formulaic and a little bit more club led. But for me, if that kind of rigid system hadn't have forced its way down into the lower levels of the sport, then I'm not sure I'd be where I am now.
You mentioned Volvo and that getting on board. I remember being in Geelong Festivals of Sail, and Ian Percy was doing a talk in Geelong. He was on tour just this would have been pre-2000. Must have been right at the cusp of that happening. I don't know if that's right or not, but I was on Secret Men's Business, I think, in Geelong, and Ian Percy had come in, and he had Volvo shirt on, and so it would have been,
Yes, and I'm not sure exactly when Volvo came on and when their sponsorship came down to the youth sailing as well. But a
Massive.
huge thing for the sport. And I was just really, right place, right time, in that someone picked up on my passion for enthusiasm, and actually then kind of, gave me a little bit of a structure to follow and find out, because my family were amazingly supportive, but they didn't really have a clue about, racing and any of that stuff and how the circuits work.
Just Dad, I need a new mainsail. Dad, I need a new mainsail.
I don't know why they went with it, because they didn't sell at all, and just this kid coming up to them was like, I need these new blocks. In fact, I was clearing out, just moved into this cabin because the little one had been kicked out of the main house, but I was going through all my old stuff, and I had this book which I wrote down every time I went sailing what I did, and all the blocks for my boat I needed. And I had a part-time job at a local
beautiful
farm potato picking, and like how much all the blocks are going to cost,
how many potatoes this one's worth.
Yeah. Exactly.
The RS 800 main sheet block is 17 potatoes.
Going back to the barter scheme.
Yeah, walked into the shop with a bunch of potatoes.
What you sort of had a bit of success, as we said at the start on the intro. We talked about all the sort of championships and stuff you've won. What sort of is your favourite event that you remember? Like, was it the Endeavour Trophy, or was it the National Champs, or what? What was the?
I mean, the Endeavour's probably the most high-profile thing that I've won in the UK. It's on the dinghy scene, it's basically the best thing you can win outside of going to the Olympics. And in UK dinghy scene, that's massive, and the names on the trophy are just a who's who. So that is just to go and compete there is a special experience. And the Royal Corinthian Yacht Club who host it do a fantastic job. I mean, for those who don't know, it's basically all the UK dinghy national champions get invited to go along to Burnham. And it's a pretty unique sailing location. It's proper kind of tidal ditches on the East Coast. But it's like the top 30 national champions in the UK, all in identical boats. Having a weekend of one design racing to get a champion of champions. So I'd been a few times before, but winning that was absolutely amazing. So that's a fond memory from just from the prestige of it. But I don't know, there's been a lot of events I've just enjoyed. I like a event with good social, good venue. Like going to Garda in the 800s is always special. It's just the venue's insane. You're sailing around, you can't believe it, the cliffs and breeze, and just you're there in a hairdryer yachting along at 15-20 knots, and fresh water as well. It's absolutely fantastic. So winning there this summer was pretty special as well.
You had a pretty good couple of years there for a while, so it's all going well. I mean, you've got a lot going on. So then that opens up to the question, which I sort of guess we're angling towards, is your YouTube page is the America's Cup focus. What's the passion for the Cup for you? Where does that come from, or is it just the technical element?
It's a technical element, and I've followed the Cup since I was I guess when I went to university. I followed, that was 2007 Valencia. Wow. So I followed that a bit. And I think the first I became aware to, I did 29 Worlds, and Russell Coutts came along to give out the prizes. This was in Switzerland. So when was it? 2004. So I guess he'd been with
he was just there. He was just there to clear a few.
He was just signing some paperwork. But
I'm here on business. Of course.
Sorry to say, but he had to use the 29ers as an excuse to get there. So that's all it was, really.
But he was along, and I didn't know who he was. I had no idea, but he came along and he was there. He was there at prize giving. Then that kind of obviously other people were talking about it, and I started following the Cup a little bit more, because before then I'd only really known about dinghies and sailed dinghies myself. So, But so I'd always followed it, and then but I've got a few mates who are into it as well. And during the last cup in Auckland, it was locked down here. We literally couldn't do anything, and spent all the time chatting with mates on WhatsApp. We were all kind of locked in separate houses anyway, so you couldn't really meet up and go to the sailing club to talk about it. So it was all over, WhatsApp, Facebook, that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I mean, the stuff I put on YouTube, I've always put on my own sailing on YouTube, and some people watch it, but not that many people really care. But it was an extension of that, really. But talking about the America's Cup, and a lot of it's just stuff like you want to, if you're having a discussion with a mate, like I think that, they think something else, and then like you try to explain it, or like you drawing little sketches and sending to each other. I was like, I can make videos pretty easy and annotate them, so I'll just like do a 2-minute video and like send them over, like, this is what I think, and like just drawing on the screen. And I was like, well, I'll just put it on the YouTube channel because other people might want to see it and get part of the discussion. So that's where it started from. And it's not really changed much since then. It's kind of same sort of vibe, same sort of amateurish kind of angle on it. But I think people like the in-depth discussion.
Yeah, it's good, man.
Well, you don't have to talk to us about amateurish. To us, it's very professional.
We don't relate to that at all.
Yeah. No, it's cool. So, it refers back to what you said initially. There's sailing, there's physical aspects, but there's the technical aspects, and that's, for me, I quite like tinkering on boats now, like I think we all like.
Well, certainly, even I know Jordan during that cup as well, like the discussions we were having, how were things working, all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Essentially what you built, I'm pretty sure the same conversations were going on your WhatsApp group, right? So there's no wonder why you get you get so all those views, because people are wondering all the same things as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's authentic in that way, isn't it? It's just straight from I'm a sailor, my mates are all sailors around the world. People are having the same conversations, asking themselves the same questions. And to be fair, I think the commentators at the Cup are all. It's a difficult gig because I guess they're there on the payroll of the Cup to promote the Cup. Some of them are hugely knowledgeable, like Nathan, obviously, but then he's also wanting to get a ride on America's Cup team. There's only so much he's ever going to say or delve into or speculate about. And to a certain degree, that holds them back. And, what people want is a bit of speculation, a little bit of, what if this, what if that, and putting the counterpoints across, and even the sailing as well, a little bit more critical of what the decisions people are making. So I think that helps. It's filling a big gap in the market, and it's something that the America's Cup themselves, they'll always really struggle to actually fill that, because as soon as they've got the commentators on the payroll, there's whether it's true or not, there's a perceived, at least, vested interest in what the commentators are willing to talk about or not. And I guess there's a level, they're trying to reach a very broad kind of just general public audience, and maybe they don't want to go into the details. But certainly people like Ken and Nathan undoubtedly could if they wanted to, but are probably a little bit restrained by the
holding back a little bit for sure. Yeah.
Well, you're right. They've got massive commercial interests. They know a lot more than they're letting on. I mean, we know that. So, and for Ken particularly, he has massive commercial interests. Nathan is just his contract, but Ken
that made me giggle in the last cup there when Ken's trying not to trash the quantum sails. He's like tiptoeing.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, so it is an interesting point that you raise. It's a good analysis. So when you watched the Cup, we went on to these monohulls, the falling monohulls. That sort of almost feels like that's when you first really started getting right into it, because that was when the lockdown happened. So what was the reaction? Do you remember your initial reaction after seeing because we've gone through all the iterations, the falling cats and now to these monohulls? This is when you really got into it.
Well, I was one of the naysayers, actually. I kind of thought the catamarans was a perfect platform to reach, a good hull speed, get takeoff without having to, get planing, all the issues of getting a monohull up to kind of, over 15 knots is a hurdle. So I couldn't really see the benefit of moving away from catamarans. And I mean, those first, they were like computer renders, weren't they, of Luna Rossa and Team New Zealand racing around, and I looked at them and was like, no way, that's not gonna work.
I think majority of the sailing world was
said no.
Majority of the sailing world was pretty similar. I think you guys kidding? The foily things, didn't we call them the foily things out the side?
Well, I mean, Bossy and I were quite lucky. We got to see a year or two before everyone else. We actually saw the initial proposal early on,
which wasn't a cup thing at the time. It was a project out of NZ, which was, and we had to sign NDAs and a whole bunch of things. But then it turned into the cup thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah.
I remember seeing it for the first time, just going, holy shit.
Yeah. So
how's that thing going to stay upright?
The funny thing, actually, I was just prior to the interview, like I was saying, Jordan and guys, I watched the doco on the land speed record with Ashby and Team New Zealand, just only last night, as a matter of fact. And it showed Team New Zealand's path in the last America's Cups from San Fran, Bermuda, Auckland, all those things. And now you even see the AC40s flying around and you're like, holy shit, how things have changed and the tech has changed and how cool is it? Like even in Bermuda, like the Cyclaws, how high up above the deck and all those things they were, that looks archaic now. And it was like it's moving so quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I can see Tom thinking. I was waiting to see if you're going to say something there, bud. That's all. Because obviously one of the things, you've got a whole episode around the Cyclaws, Tom. Like there's that whole. I think that was this week's, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was. I know. I had one. I've got a bit of a rant about the AC40s and the two-bake testing, which has snuck in as well, which I keep on going back to. So I had one out about that. But yeah, the last kind of like techie video I did was the Cyclaws, which I think is really interesting. I said in the video, for me, the big difference with these boats compared to the yachts that we're out racing on is the storage of the hydraulic pressures. And as soon as you've got a kind of accumulator kind of building all that out and then redeploying that energy, that oil around the boat, then that really changes the game from anything we would see on the typical beer can racer type things. But I think the Cyclaws is an interesting problem to solve. I think all the teams are going to go for Cyclaws this time, so it's really about optimizing that. Obviously, last time, Team New Zealand rocked up with it. I think Oracle put Slingsby on the back on a little bike, didn't they? Which was hilarious. But otherwise, they were unopposed. They I think undoubtedly the Cyclaws are better. But now we're going to have the question of how do you optimize it. Sadly, though, that's all going to be out of sight a little bit. So we can speculate about what they might do within the rules and the systems, but whether we'll actually see any of that, it's a bit of a shame when those interesting areas of development go below deck and we can't see any more. And it's another, I guess that's another reason why people criticize the move away from the more traditional kind of pit teams, grinders, all kind of moving out of sync, which you could see back in the IACC days. But for me, Cyclaws is an interesting question. and the way the rules are written, they've got some kind of interesting problems to solve. But
there's some
I don't know. It's all in the hydraulic systems. We might not see it. So
no, there's more than that. Like, first off, let's get to two critical problems for the cyclists. So sure, all the hydraulics, all that technical. First off, number one problem, the priority is going to be dietary considerations, because they've all got their fucking heads right up each other's ass. So if somebody drops their guts, and it's staying contained because it's below decks, so that's critical. And you can imagine if you're just having a bad day, the poor bugger behind you is just not going to. It's going to be an unhappy boat.
Well,
it's just like rugby. So it's just like rugby, really. Like you got one person pitching three people up 5 people's asses.
You see, Bicey, we wouldn't have thought about that because we don't follow the game. Whereas Jordan's a major follower of rugby, so he understands the exertion of stress and pressure at the wrong time.
But then the other one is if they do go nose down, right, a big nosedive, and from
endo,
from speed to zero very quick. The cyclists are in a really bad position for that. They can't see it coming. They're just pedaling. Genuinely, that, all the humorous side, that to me from a safety perspective looks scary.
Yeah, they
don't disagree with you on that one. Thought about that.
They
myself.
Really could end up with a head up someone else's arse.
If it's the same guy that's having a bad day, you're in heaps of trouble.
But at the end of the day, it's an absolute. If you want to try and involve people from a personal point of view, like it's the completely wrong thing to allow.
Yeah.
But it's just the way around the rules to generate pressure, as opposed to having a small little DC pump or whatever it might be, or an accumulator or whatever. I don't know. But it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. It's hard to know where the answer is, because I think in some ways the foiling boats bring in a new audience, and what do you do on a foiling boat? The way that you're not going to have head sail changes. We saw them try to put that in last cup and have open winches as well for the crews during the tacks. The teams just covered them up. We didn't get head sail changes. You ended up with people grinding, which you couldn't really see anyway. So I guess where you end up is the AC40. Yeah, exactly. And I think the AC40 is a pretty good platform. At least then what everyone's doing on the boat, and it's the end of grinders. It's the end of that power unit, and that wouldn't be popular in itself, but at least it wouldn't be, artificial. But you're not creating a reason just to put people on the boat to create power. But that's one way of looking at it.
But the AC40
saves a lot of money in feeding the grinders, though.
That's true. And you only, with 4 people on the boat with the AC40s, you could have a whole lot more teams. I think it could be. I think the AC40 tomorrow are the ones I really like watching on the water.
But we've always said that the AC40s are going to be a class that's going to just, benefit out of all of this.
Yeah. Have you heard any rumours of people buying privately yet?
No,
I've not. I've heard a rumour, but that they have 1 on order, 2 on order, but I've not seen much publicity around it. Maybe they're early days, but I think that's going to be.
Can't imagine saying to your mate, "Come on, we're going sailing on the weekend. Yeah, who do you want to get? Oh, see if Jono's available. Yeah, righto." It's not going to be like that, is it?
What size helmet does he wear?
Jordan's is on board. Oh, yeah, that'll do.
We have got an invite to go and sail the virtual simulator. So we'll probably end up doing that towards the end of the year.
I'll fly home for that.
Yeah. So
they're just building a new helmet for Jordan. Fit his head.
Okay. Go on, Tom. Sorry, you're going to speak, mate.
No, I was just going to say on that, the only counter argument to everything we've just said is, first of all, in the last cups, the power on these boats at the moment is only powering what's below the waterline, and in the past we didn't have power for anything below the waterline. So it is sticking true to values in that there's human power adjusting the sails, and it's still wind that's getting you round the race course. So from, I guess, there's a strand through from there. For me, the AC40s and the LEQ12s, super cool boats, and they're going to be the AC40 is going to be a good gateway through for the youth and women's cups for sure. And, let teams build in that arena before coming on board with the full cup. But for me, absolutely, I think you still need a big boat for the cup. I think that's, that
like
aura
Formula 3,
around it when you get there on the water. Right? Yeah, I think there has to be a step up, and I don't mind that those boats aren't raced very often, but I think the scale does have to come into it for America's Cup boat. Okay. So I would be keen to keep them for sure.
Well, I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see a more permanent AC40 tour.
Yeah,
I think that's going to happen. I think that once the cup's done, we're going to see. I think we'll see events that a lot of these sailors will do. It won't be like a sail GP or a this or that, but and that could lend itself to potentially, boats being chartered, and an owner gets an opportunity to be on board in apostrophes with people, but who knows how that pans out.
Yeah, and excuse my ignorance, what was the protocol in regards to how long these boats were going to last? Was it going to be 3 rounds, only if Team New Zealand won? Or was it an agreement amongst the teams?
That's
the
part
protocol?
Yeah, that's part of the protocol. So they've got, they've all, in theory, signed up to using the AC75 for AC38, but that's a lot of ACs.
37 and 38. Until someone else wins.
But they've all
takes it to court.
Changes it back to a catamaran.
Yeah. So ahead of 36, the Kiwis didn't sign because they tried to get everyone to sign up onto the CAT platform, but the Kiwis refused to sign that, as we know. But they've all signed on this one for 37 and 38, which is why the French team. Is it the French team? What the Orient Express team?
Orient Express.
Yeah. Le Frenchies.
The Frenchies. That's why they got into it. So, I'm interested. One of the things that I find really interesting, when the Cup was on in New Zealand, there was a lot of time. I spent all the time looking, trying to look up the leach of the sails, and I was looking at the bottom of the mains, looking at how they were setting those up, and all the different foils and all those elements, which you do a lot of, right? You're all over this. This is something that I find interesting. What has been can you pick out 1 or 2 or 3 standout things that you've noticed coming into this Cup? What do you reckon the most important elements are?
I think this Cup is going to be hugely interesting. I've not talked about it on my channel. I alluded to it in a previous video, the Cyclor one, but one of the biggest changes in the rules for this Cup has been how they're allowed to link controls to one another. And I think, so in the previous Cup, you had a button and you pressed it and one sail control moved, and it moved for as long as you pretty much were pressing the button. And there were no kind of like presets, and that was it. It had to be someone on a pad making that change. In this Cup, you're allowed a huge amount of feedback between different controls. When X control, when your Cunningham's in X position and you pull on the kicker, it'll move to there, and just feedback loops within the yacht. And that opens up a huge amount of possibilities, and the mind boggles about what they could and will do with this. Obviously, they've gone to the self-tacking jibs, and we see a very rudimentary self-tacking jib on the AC40, which is basically identical to what you have on a 49er, 29er, International 14, blah, blah, blah. But the self-tacking jibs that they've got, that Ineos have got on their LEQ12, and that going to murder the pronunciation, Tiruhutai, have got on theirs, have these kind of like twin tracks with a car in between, and they can basically trim that jib in 3D. And these kind of feedback loops should allow them on a straight track across the boat to actually, as the car moves, to then move where the sheeting angle is in conjunction with it, just all within a feedback loop without anyone actually having to manually do that.
You basically hit the tack button, and it will do all the controls at the right timing, depending on a whole bunch of variations.
Yeah,
I told you, Mate, I've changed my view. I said there's going to be one person driving the Sail GP boats within 12 months. Only, not driving, but only on board. It's going to be zero. And it's going to be the same for the Cup. AI's taken over. Get on board.
I'm interested.
It's going to be a drone competition.
Exactly.
So what you're saying, Tom, is, with all these feedback loops, particularly when you look at Barcelona, right, where they're sailing, they're getting a lot of cross swell. So one of the things you hear, they might be sailing upwind with waves behind them at times, and across on the next tack they're sort of across swell lines. So your rig setup's completely different in those sorts of situations. So you might even, with what you're saying, you could actually, if you're on starboard, automatically set this way. If you're on port, when you tack, it automatically sets up into that different configuration that you want for those different conditions.
You're managing parameters.
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the primary controls are still going to be done. I mean, it's hard to think because it's a fairly rare thing to have on a conventional boat. So I was trying to think the other day, what controls would I link up on my dinghy if I could? And I mean, the halyard on the kite is linked to the tack line on the pole. So when you pull up the halyard, the tack line also goes out. It's one system. So that is an example on a dinghy of, you changing one control and the other one links it, and it's actually linked by tension. So when a tension in the tack line equals X, then the tension in the halyard must equal X as well. And that pulls the whole system out. And in some more kind of techie dinghies like a Merlin Rocket, I know you guys don't have them over there, but I guess they have the canting rigs and the forestay lengthens as the shrouds come back and all that, and the kicker moves with that as well. Mm-hmm. So they're examples that we know of, but kind of handing it off to the teams and letting them run with these ideas and seeing what they come up with is going to be hugely interesting this Cup. And I don't know where they are going to go with that, but there's not much sign of that on the AC40 test platforms that I've been looking for. So whether I just can't detect it, but on the LEQ12s, obviously I talked about the self-tacking jib and this kind of 3D sheeting. That's a definite example of where you would, when the track moves in, when you sheet the jib inboard, then it's going to automatically change your sheeting angle and to keep that perfectly dialed in. But it's going to be interesting to see where they go with the mainsail controls. Obviously, the two skins, last Cup, Emirates to New Zealand were using a fairly rudimentary system where the skins just slid over each other. They had like a little yoke, mm-hmm. which was just twisting mm-hmm. in the tacks. And there was all this talk about how you might adjust the outhaul on different skins separately. And I never really saw that happening too much in the end. They were just relying on a bit of string with the yoke to tack the mainsail. But, you could really go into depth with that, of having it automatically, when you're on one tack to the other, those skins kind of self-adjusting. And so, yeah, the only thing you can't do is link it to stuff that's happening outside of the yacht. Obviously, otherwise you could link it up to your wind index and wind speed, and then it would just be completely self-sustaining. So there has to be, basically the role of the crew now, the afterguard is looking externally, processing that information, and then making a decision on that, inputting that to the control systems. But a lot of the link between the controls can be done in one. And yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes. I just hope we see some of that. When I talk about these things, I just hope we get to see it, and that will be my task, is to zoom in and try and see if I can see how they're doing these things. But that's a huge difference from last couple. It's not been talked about at all, because we've had the change to the cyclors, we've had the reduction in weight, we've got the bigger foils. There's a lot to talk about, which is going to be pretty visible. The loss of the bowsprit and the code zero. So there's lots of changes to talk about. But I think fundamentally this control one is probably going to be the biggest change for the sailors in terms of what skills you need to have on afterguard of this boat. This is going to be the biggest change to what these guys are doing. in getting a boat around the course, and it's not really talked about because it's in the control systems, but hopefully it'll become apparent when they bring out their launch their race boats.
If you go back to the Cup in Auckland, the two finalists, the ones that made the Cup were probably the two boats that could sort of reshape their rigs the most, going and hold on the foils the longest, that downrange element, because they had more able to shape the bottom of their boats, the bottom of their mains, I thought, and it's not necessarily when everything's perfect, but it's on the margins where the gains will be made. That's my view on it. So, if you can stay on your foil longer or get up earlier, or you can, you can talk into American Magic. They're not worried about their top end speed. They know that their top end speed was fine, but it's the actual low down speed that they were concerned about. There's this element where the difference is if you're on your foil or off your foil, and I think that's where we'll see a lot of that sort of on your at the margins, sort of.
Yeah, in that real sort of tight on foils, off foils moment. It's transitions. It must be about how the camber of the mainsail was controlled to produce that power. And something when we did our twin skin thing we worked on was keeping the battens in camber mode or releasing the battens, but being able to do it in a way that if you release the top batten a little bit more than the next batten, the first batten a little bit more than the next batten, eventually you create twist without using your main sheet. And so by pulling those battens together, you create more camber without using main sheet. And that was something that is something that might be interesting as well to listen to hear if they get on to that.
Yeah, they've limited the control. Last Cup they were allowed 1.5 meters at the top to do active controls, but they've got rid of that for this Cup. So
and that's my point. It'd be really interesting to see how they're managing that, because camber's a huge thing, and relating camber to flattening and twist is something that you can do without using your main sheet with patterns.
But they're still.
I think it's going to be. I was just going to say it's going to be hugely important for this Cup, because I don't think the Cup's not won on top speed. It's headline as they round the windward mark, but whether they get past cavitation on the Bearway or not isn't going to win or lose them the Cup. I mean, it'd be safer if they don't cavitate, but there'll be ways of getting through that Bearway without it. So looking at what the conditions we're likely to get in Barcelona, it's going to be wavy, it's going to be difficult to get a boat unstuck, and it's going to be lighter conditions as well. And it's going to be and typically it'll get lighter from the Challenger Series to the Cup itself as well. So this is all going to be about takeoff efficiency and swell, not touching down during maneuvers. So I think a bit of different direction. Yeah,
in essence, being in control of changing gears. I mean, the precision of changing gears at that that crossover point of foiling and non-foiling is going to be the key, right?
So
you've got two completely different power systems, haven't you? The sails you want to get you to take off, and the sails you want immediately, like 10 seconds later once you've taken off, are just completely different. And it's
knowing when it's the opposite, because you're going to be coasting for a while before you realise. You go, oh, guys, it's like I guess they're going to work it out, but it'll be like, where's that point where you need to start fattening and start going for it and keep the thing up?
So before, I don't want to. There's so much I want to talk about, but one thing that we saw in the last Cup was obviously, we had great fun with the Italians where they had skipper on both sides. I'm wondering if more of the teams are going to do that, whether that will come into play, because, the way you sail the AC40 in the build-up, they're all basically sailing two skippers now as it is, because, you hand over when you're in the AC40. So I'm really intrigued if you reckon we'll see any more of that. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think every team is going to go twin skippers, and I think it makes sense. I just think every time you have someone crossing a boat, it creates an opportunity for disaster, and those are the most critical times of the race, the maneuvers, and to have your skipper kind of like stood on the back of the boat holding on to the clew of the mainsail, as I think Ben Ainsley was in the pre-start on a couple of the races last Cup, is you just can't have that in these boats. I'm not sure it's safe, but I'm also sure it's not fast. And I think all the teams will want to get away with that. And the trick is picking a pairing who can link up and communicate on the same wavelength and pass off that responsibility, each maneuver effectively.
We've had a few laughs about this, haven't we?
You're spot on.
Blokes that don't get on.
Yeah, I think it's going to test some egos, isn't it? It's like having, just imagine F1 if the two drivers were in the same car wrestling for the steering wheel.
Each with a brake pedal and each
well,
with an
maybe
accelerator.
that you can, because you're allowed to make that loop now. The minute it goes onto port or starboard, it disconnects the leeward wheel.
Yeah,
they can't fight against each other.
No, I think this will probably be actually one of the more interesting elements, like for the media. I think these relationships between the co-skippers is going to be a big talking point. That's going to be quite interesting because I thought Jimmy and Bruni, I think they first of all, he's like super chilled out bloke to kind of go up against Jimmy, so I think that helped that their egos kind of matched a little bit. But even there were like moments of kind of like slight narkiness, and we're going to get that every race. Just these, it's bad enough when you've got helmsman and trimmer, but when you've got helmsman and helmsman, it's going to be really, really interesting. Like Ben as well, like he got pretty snappy with Giles, just kind of like coming out of maneuvers when he was handing off the steering to Giles. He didn't quite like one of the ducks that Giles did on Luna Rossa, thought he gave them a bit too much, and he was like really snappy with it. So we're going to get like every race, it's going to be full of those moments to pour over. And I think that's relatable. That's just good. That's relatable for the average person who's racing.
I think we have a responsibility to really make sure we keep an eye on it and headline it, because I think there's going to be some cracking moments where the general public might not see or understand, where we could see them fighting on the wheels, or we could see them sort of looking at each other a certain way.
It brings a whole new world to new term. Dial up takes on a whole new sort of meaning, doesn't it?
And banter.
Yeah.
On board banter.
Yeah.
But the press conference is going to be pretty interesting as well, because we're so used to the America's Cup and the skippers just being like the figurehead of the team that we see on the water. I know, they have the like Max Serena, someone who would be like the general kind of like principal captain, who we look to. But on the water, you're always looking to the helmsman. And in the press conferences they've been leading, they're very much like the team falls in beyond them. And you think about the great challenges over the years, and like the persona of the team often becomes the persona of the skipper. And now you're going to have two of them, and you're going to have these kind of like Jekyll and Hyde, kind of like.
I like it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the press conferences, and one of them says something that the other one doesn't agree with, and
just the facial expressions.
No, the course is not in the left; it's in the right. They're having an argument on the stage.
You have completely missed. You're only focusing on 2/3 of the people that are going to talk. So you got each skipper and the AI. The AI will be doing press conferences. You watch, and they'll be arguing. AI, and you watch. It'll be Terminator 1 starts because of the America's Cup.
Looking forward to it.
Can you imagine when we had the first press conference with AI? Can you just imagine that? Because, it's a bit cheeky with us already, so I don't know. Anyway, what about the foils? Like, which foils are going to be the ones? Because as you said, we've gone to bigger foils on the 75, so it's pretty cool watching these boats going out. They've got different foils on different sides. They're trying all sorts of different setups. The two boating is sort of happening. So, there's a lot of info.
Yeah, I think we've seen, what I'm pleased is we have seen some variation in the foil design, which I was a little bit fearful after the last cup. We just see a copy and paste of what Team New Zealand did, but just stretched out over the width of the new bottom box and a little bit higher aspect ratio, and there would be changes, but we wouldn't be able to see them. So it's pleased me that we have had teams trying some kind of like more novel ideas. We've had Ineos go back to their W foil, which they dropped pretty quickly. So maybe it wasn't so good. And we've seen Alinghi with their kind of like, swept back delta wing, which is a new thing, and the tubercles on the front of the foil as well. So we've seen some pretty interesting ideas. But having said that, I do think most of the teams seem to be honing in on a kind of like a Emirates Team New Zealand Mark II, just really high aspect ratio, a little bit of pre-bend in them. And I think we'll see there's a little bit of disagreement on exactly what they're doing with the foil tips. That's going to be an area, but yeah, I don't know. I hope a team like Ineos does come out of left field with a W foil, because it'll be something to talk about. But the speed at which they dropped that, gives me less hope.
Well, that's either good or bad.
This isn't letting out any design secrets, but going through the whole Super 60 stuff, when you're chatting to the guys and girls designing the foils, literally could not get them long enough and with any more high aspect, if that makes sense, and narrow core length, right? And the only holdback was construction, which is being more and more refined, right? So it doesn't surprise me. That's the way they're going. But at the end of the day, it's all the testing's done on the computer these days, which is very good, mind you. But until you get it in the water in a place like Barcelona, which has those conditions and those varying conditions, that's another factor to put in there.
So then the next question, who's going to be done for cheating first?
The reconnaissance team.
Yeah.
I'm really interested what will be the first
recon team.
If we don't want to put names against people, what will be the first controversy? Then we don't have to assign it to anyone. We can just think what the first controversy will be.
Oh, I'd definitely say French.
The French,
but, they're getting Kiwi design anyway, right? So
yeah, that's true.
So it'll be quite a well-established design that fits everything. But, it doesn't have to exactly.
Yeah, I think there's going to be... you can already see it. So I'm not sure how much you follow. This is proper kind of geeky behind-the-scenes stuff, but I follow all the rule inquiries that go in. And it's just hilarious the way that it's all done like without naming names. So no one puts their name to their rule inquiry, but they're all basically pointing fingers at one another or raising things that they're doing that they think is a little bit sus, and they just want to check it out with the other teams first. So I follow them. They make good reading, but there's definitely a few rule controversies brewing there. I think covered area is going to be a big one, because obviously all the teams are pushing just to completely cover everyone. They'd be below deck if the aero team had their way, for sure. But there's a bit of a safety angle, obviously. Someone needs to pull the grinders out when or the cyclors out when they do pitch pole, and there has to be some sort of opening. So I think we're going to see controversy around that. I don't know, like some of the stuff I see going on with the control systems. There's already loads of stuff going on about that, and they're kind of like actuators and kind of pretty geeky hydraulic circuit stuff, which I don't think we'll see enough of for it to be controversial. I don't think the teams will have a good enough view of what each other are doing for it really to blow up in the cup. I reckon crew covered areas could be the one that gets questioned a lot, because it's very visual. I reckon some team will turn up with some pretty unique fairings, which will all
kind of zip themselves in, you reckon? Or kind of like fighter pilot type setup.
Well,
exactly.
Carbon monofilm.
Putting your helmet on, it's 2 meters long. Yeah. Big bit of perspex.
Remember,
2 meter long helmet, Jordan. Imagine that.
Remember, a lot of these teams are working with Formula One teams. You know, the Formula One teams have budget restrictions, so by partnering up with the America's Cup teams.
I doubt they're coming out with a halo.
No, I just mean that, you know, aerodynamics is such a big part of the Formula One, and by partnering up with the America's Cup, they're able to do a lot of aerodynamic testing that doesn't come into the Formula One budget. So they're quite happily involved, and as you said, it may be just exactly that. Like it's a 4-headed helmet, you know, that is
even better.
Comes.
Where are you going today? Bicey, where you going? I've got to go out with Jordan. Why is that? Because we're going to wear the same helmet.
Walking down the dock, a metre apart, you got to get on at the same time.
I don't want to go there. I want to get a coffee.
Oh, shit.
That's a cracker.
Did you have the same Indian as me last night?
That's too funny.
I reckon that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the 3 of us walking down the dock in a helmet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be jumping up to try and get to your height.
Your feet wouldn't be on the ground. You'd have to be in the middle. We're nearly there, mate.
Sorry, Tom. We've gone off on a bit of a tangent.
So,
sorry.
Well, our first event is not far away. We're just over a month away from our first preliminary event. So, mid-September for the listeners. So this is sort of why we're starting to focus back in on the Cup a little bit, and we're all pretty excited. Obviously, that's in the 40s. And, you know, that's our first taste. We've got, what's our lead up? Then we go in December, the Jeddah thing. I don't know if the US team will turn up. I don't know. I mean,
apparently they've been told they have to go, don't they?
They have to.
They have to go.
Yeah, because it counts to their tally.
Yep.
And then
I was speaking to Britain Ward about it, and they have to.
And once we get into August next year, we're pretty much away. So, you know, it's all starting to happen now. So we're actually going to get some of this controversy. We're going to get some of this stuff starting to come forward. We're going to start living it again. Which is cool, you know, like it's really cool. I'm super excited about the youth and the women's that they're intermixing it, and they're doing it in these 40s, you know, and they're giving a lot of opportunities because that's the door opener for a lot of people going forward, the pro sailing pathway. So you've got to fight tooth and nail to get one of those spots. And yeah, you know, she's going to be a glamour. Are you going to attend, Tom? Do you reckon you'll make a run across?
Yeah, I've been looking into the logistics of it with a pretty new baby, and it's difficult. I've been thinking about doing a little trip to Barcelona, and it's just along the coast from there, so it does lend itself to seeing all the bases, then going for a little road trip along the coast to it's Villanova, isn't it, the first one? And I've got some expat friends out in Jeddah as well, so I'm sure they'd give me a floor to sleep on as well, but it's more the personal kind of element of it, whether I could get
that's easy, mate. Tell you why. It's all organised. It's business, it's right? Organised. All you got to do in the meantime, get Mozzy Sails, find a sponsor who's going to send you there, right? And do a few big takes on it. Plug the sponsor, and it's all business. It's all business at the end of the day.
I think what we need to do, so we're Barcarati's probably going to have 2 people attending Villanova is what we're trying to budget for at the moment with our zero income.
It's looking pretty good.
Didn't we get $1.13 from YouTube last month?
Eh?
Didn't we get $1.13 from YouTube last month?
Something like that. But the other thing I think is that what you alluded to at the start, Tom, is with the commentary team, you know, all for the producers out there, and we know a lot listen, for the producers out there, you've picked the wrong commentators. Like, you've got people that have got ulterior motives, and they're not giving the full thing. I can think of a few people that would absolutely lay it on the line and give you all the detail and give you the controversy. And so, you know, why don't we just form the commentary team now and call it that? This is the commentary team. We'll just call it the AC commentary team.
The Ryan HG commentary team.
That's it. We just go. We're done. We'll have to work it out.
We can get KO to play it. Well, they play it anyway, but we'll just do it over the top.
Over the top. That's it. Yeah. I think we're sort of out of time, Tom. You know, we've chewed up an hour. I don't know if you've had a lot of fun, but I hope you have. But it's been good fun chatting.
Yeah, but a lot of fun. I could just see the family through the window back in the house, and they're just about holding together. So it's a difficult one to call, isn't it? Because things really go.
Yeah. Do you make it? Do you make it?
Want to go back at all?
Yeah. Do you make out you're talking for the next hour? Just watching a bit of Letterkenny on YouTube. Just saying, I may or may not have done that before.
Yeah. I must admit, Letterkenny must be sending us money by now. We've given them so much plug.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
If you've never seen that TV show, hunt it down, Tom. We love it. But anyway, yeah, mate, good fun. I suspect we might chat again at some stage because, you're really informative. The analysis you've laid on was fantastic, mate. And again, a reminder for those, Mozzy Sails on YouTube is where you want to go.
Yeah, give that a plug. Give us all your details, and so people can catch up with you.
Yeah. Any other areas that we've got to refer you to?
No, I'm pretty much on YouTube only. I've got an Instagram account, but it's kind of
Mozzy
just
Sails,
me sailing my boat. Yeah,
Mozzy Sails YouTube channel.
Yeah, MOZZY.
So you'll get my mum and Bryce's mum.
Yeah, no,
big fans.
Yeah.
For starters.
Cool. All right, mate.
Good on you.
We'll leave you in peace.
Thanks, Tom.
Nah, cheers for having me. It's been great.
Have a good day.
Cheers.
And congrats.
Really enjoyed that chat, boys. I felt like you could see how analytical he was about everything, but it was interesting. A bit like his channel, it's analytical and interesting. And
analytics to the side, it kind of reminds us of how we first started.
Yeah.
Like it's just banter about what goes on the dock or on the water.
Yeah.
And we thought, why not let some other people listen to what we crap on about for quite a while. Although he does it a little more professionally than us.
Yeah. I love it.
But no, bloody good.
I
love
that chat, that discussion.
I think it's a good thing where it's going. We did just mention off air that the general public in the actual racing might not all know much about sailing, so the commentary will be relatively basic. It'll be sort of as we've heard, it's made to be user friendly for the uninitiated. But with something like this, if you are interested in the technical details of something, you can go to the channel and you can ask the questions directly, and it gets answered or talked about. So it's
and even better, we can go to the channel. We can talk about what he was talking about, and it makes us look like experts.
That's how good we are.
Cool.
Good on you. Well done.
Yeah, well, kind of related here, gents. In the UK, we've just had, he is based out of the UK, of course, just had the Fastnet race be completed. And I've got to just tell you this one that came across the desk this week. From Sam White. Just listen up. This kind of crosses over into Listener of the Week territory. From Sam White. I thought I'd drop you a line just to let you know that you missed something about Radix in your last pod. Having the shit kicked out of me for 4 days on the Fastnet as a double-handed entry on the JPK 1080, I wanted to give my experience of Radix. Whilst it's obviously a great nutritional source, it tastes good and it's easy to prepare. And I think you missed a major benefit about the product, that being the ease with which it washes off the side decks when it reappears from your stomach in heavy weather, leaving no residue or staining whatsoever. What a great result, and something that I feel they need to push in their marketing. Look, Sam, we'll chat to their marketing department. Pretty sure that won't be on the pack, but for all the yachties out there who know they're going to get the shit kicked out of them, you don't have to worry about the Juco. She's all good.
Dear. The things that Radix bring to the operation.
Sometimes it's not even thought about. That's how amazing it is.
Well, the good part about it is that he's had the Radix, and because of how quick it does get into your system, he's probably gained some positives.
Nutritional value. I'm not surprised they didn't win the race. Yeah. Crying out loud.
You idiots. Oh dear. All right. So Radix nutrition products are designed to provide the body's metabolism with the nutrients it needs to thrive. So complete nutritional design, breakfast, meals, drinks, accessories. There's all sorts on there. So just go to radixnutrition.com and or .com.au and fuel your day.
Yeah, very good. Designed for the harshest conditions.
Everyone's having a plug. All right. Let's go on to other news. Club events. There's so much going on.
What's not going on? I was actually
great question.
Bloody looking what can we shove on Hot Time with Bice today? And it's like, where do you start and where do you stop?
Yeah.
Basically, there's shitload going on. Plenty of regattas. There's some winners, losers, and there's a lot coming up, which is, of course, mentioned now.
Yeah, well, our job's not to report on all of them, so we just want to talk about the stuff behind the scenes. But just to give you an idea, so Cows Week's on. You've got Copa del Rey, the 29er Worlds have just finished. Irish brother and sister just won that one. 12-metre Worlds, the 2.4-metre Worlds, the TP52 Worlds start 22nd to 26 August. And
World, yeah.
Yep, so that's going to be good. And then, of course, we do have a couple sent in. One is our friends at NASA, Sailing NASA, the F-18 series in the northeast of US, where they're doing the F-18 stuff. Soon to be hosting, having a Barcarati vessel as part of the event. Their next regatta is next weekend, so 12-13 underway. So keep your eyes out for that one. That'll be a big one to watch out, and we'll give some good coverage on that, as I said. Definitely going to be covering off on that. But if you're into it, that will be coming up. And then the other one is a bloke who is basically using us as his free PR machine. But he does it right, so I'm happy to keep giving it to him. So he just wants us to mention the Dillon Open Regatta, which is August 25, 26 and 27 on Lake Dillon at 9,017 feet above sea level. I have no idea what that is in real numbers.
Can't even grow trees up there, gents. That's how high it is.
Is it?
Yeah, masts fall down. It's an amazing concept.
So it's like nearly 3,000 metres, I guess, in real numbers. We're expecting fleets to consist of the Melders 24s, J80s, J22s, J24s, Catalina 22s, as well as a couple of PHRF classes. Should be fantastic. Saturday night, we'll have a catered barbecue, dining with brisket. A bar with locally brewed beer and plenty of Mount Gay rum and other offerings, and a live band. We should go.
A live band.
Professional photography by Regatta Shoots, as well as drone photography. Wow, and spectator. But it's just a give me.
Too good to be true.
Mike Khalil just using us as his free publicity.
Yep. So strap on the chains, US Adians, and get on up there.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
US Adians.
US Adians.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, laugh. All right, that's good. So the regattas come out. Jack Lloyd, listener of the week, boys. We've got a couple there. Alex Morton, he did a bit of sailing research for everyone. I'm just trying to find it. Here he is. I like this one because you might be interested. Research I did over the few months circulated the Victorian Class Associations and Club and what small boats are sailing in Victoria. Started as a way to help juniors at Williamstown think about what boats they should be interested in moving into as they outgrow minnows and mirrors, what dinghies would be sensible for them to move into, and what dinghies are actually sailed in Victoria. Most of our kids, the next step is Sabres, easy transition, Sabres. But anyway, he's provided all this research with the goal, I guess, of making the pathway for kids more considered. So the youngsters move through there, and they're looking at some of the cheaper boats, which I'm a big fan of. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan of bringing the cost down and home build and that whole thing. I want to do the Barcarati single-hander at some stage. The
BK1.
The BK1, yeah, that's definitely something I really want to jump onto. But, yeah. So, Alex, if anyone wants to see that, maybe just reach out to us and we'll forward it on to you. But yeah, thanks, Alex, for sending
it. Some serious stats there, very well presented as well, in a form which is easily understandable. So good work, Alex. And I mean, from my side, it's a lot of work's gone into this.
Yeah.
So, that whether he does or does not receive a merch pack, well, for all his hard work, we'll
have to do some research. The other one's Randy McMeekin, which is a great name. Randy McMeekin. I think that might be my next stage name. I like that one a lot. I heard you mention the RS Aero Worlds in episode 220. Inspiring story here about resilience, tenacity that I hope we'll consider sharing with the listeners. One of the competitors was an American by the name of Mark Jacoby, who is a legend in the aero and laser fleet. From his website, he is the 2017-2018 RS Aero 9 World Champion, placed fourth at the 2015 Laser Master World Champs, and is one of the only two people in the United States to have qualified for and competed in the 96, 2000, 2004 and 2008 US Olympic trials. Totally dominating the aero fleet, but suddenly disappeared. Here's why. In September 21, to correct an irregular heartbeat, an AFib, he had arterial ablation surgery. Now, my wife's had 3 of those, so this is freaking me right out. That went horribly wrong, nearly killed him. He nearly died in October 21 while emergency doctors tried to repair holes in the heart and esophagus caused by the initial botched procedure. He suffered a stroke and heart attack and was unable to walk or use left arm for most of 22 and is recovering. He decided to enter the 23 Worlds, and despite sailing with significant physical handicap and not much training, finished amazing 10th place.
Wow.
Bravo. So he's got a sailing blog, Mark Jacoby's sailing blog, if you want to look up. It's a pop-up that's blocked. I can't see it. Search Mark Jacoby sailing blog, MARC. But yeah.
Got to love our sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
The diversity and what it offers different people and what they take from it.
Across the board.
Fantastico.
Yeah,
across the board.
Yeah.
Gives everyone a chance, doesn't it, really?
That whole ablation, I didn't, Jesus Christ, I didn't realise there was so much risk associated with it. That's freaking me right out. But anyway, yeah, cool. Right. But yeah, so listeners of the week, Alex, Randy's a good one to give us some updates on.
Yeah, I think they all get a Guernsey.
Yeah, all get
a gong. And just remember, use one of the 18 different ways you can get in contact with us.
Please just
via cheers at barkarati.com.
You just use one, because that way
it's so hard.
I just haven't got time for this,
It's hot time with Bice.
It's hot time, by the way.
We've moved on.
Yeah, my thumb hit it accidentally, so I couldn't be stopping it.
Hey, boys. Well, there's been something in our own backyard, gentlemen, and this specifically for the Aussie listeners, but Brisbane to Hamo race.
Yeah.
After possibly having the slowest race for the Noakes Sydney Gold Coast of all the boats going north, which was taken out by URM, they've all had the fastest race continuing to go north up to Hamo.
Smoked
and
up there.
At time of recording, looks as though Alive takes the chocolates at this point in time.
Such a cool part of the world to do. I mean, even deliveries were exciting. It was fun.
Oh, imagine, that whole thing about turning left or turning right out of Sydney Heads.
Yeah.
Turning right, you just get colder and colder. Here, you just get warmer and warmer.
Warmer.
Start off in your wet rigs, finishing your speedos.
Yep.
Yeah.
We should do a Barkarati speedo.
Into the trades as well. The trades have been honking up there.
You get your hook into a nice southeasterly, and you
did you see him come past? Were you out on the ski, Jordan?
I did. Tips? Yeah, saw them all.
Any advice? Came in from Brisbane. Did they need any advice?
No, it's all good. Most of them gave me advice on how to cook a brisket. Yeah, they came past.
Can't believe you're not offering a brisket.
Got any radix?
That's it.
You're out there with your radix, were you?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Hey, in the other world, complete opposite part of the world, in Newport, Rhode Island, some claim as the sailing capital of the United States of America, the 12-meter worlds which we mentioned a little bit earlier. But
very cool.
Some classic stuff going on there. And there's, I would suggest just Google it, check out some of the photography. It's just some really good stuff going on. And so KA10 Challenge 12 took it out in the Division 1 Modern. US 16 Columbia took it out as in traditional. So congrats to all those teams competing up there. And I hope you go well. Now, boys.
Hold on. Just a little quick one. On Yacht Hub yesterday, popped up.
Oh, careful.
Sorry, easy. The algorithms haven't changed.
I didn't even click on that one. I've been looking here for ages. No wonder. Australia, the old 12-metre Australia is listed for sale. America's Cup Challenger Australia from 1977.
Yes, I saw that for sale.
Yeah, it's for auction. So if you're into getting a 12-metre, there you go. It's
into getting a 12-metre and spending a lot of money on maintenance and maintaining and crew and getting it around the world to go to all the events.
If you're interested in
it's a bargain.
If you're interested in purchasing a battery that floats, aluminium beauty.
And it's spelt YACHT hub. Okay, just
hub's the common word, right?
Okay, sorry, go on, bud. Sorry.
All right. Heading across the Atlantic now. Cows Week's just finished up.
Yep.
Check this. There's like 50. I'm not sure how the prize giving goes at this bloody show.
It must be a big show. A big show.
Because there's 50 different prizes to give out. For 50 different groups.
Yeah.
Yep.
So by the time you do, fourth in race 6 on performance handicap in Group D of the Cape 31s, all that sort of stuff. It'll be there all day. They had to have an extra day just for the prizes. But 50 groups, what I figured out, they essentially put you in a black group. So this is on top of what class you're in, a black group and a white group. Then you get average points across the actual week to determine who the winner is out of the whole week. Because who do you actually give the final Cows Week trophy to? Is it the Cape 31s? Is it the J70s? Blah, blah, blah. And going to a couple of our favourite classes, Cape 31s had 24 boats. We had a message from these guys during the week. Actually, Flying Jenny took that.
Yep.
With a couple of mates on board. Tokolosh on second, Gilbert third. The J70s with 30 boats, which is obviously another very popular boat around the world. Sada, Nix, Wolf, and Dads and Lads took the podium there. Now, BP,
before you go on, I just got to shout out to our good mate Nick Bonner.
Yes,
he's had a win in IRC Class 0 on Dark and Stormy with his Mr. Ian Atkins. They're stoked and over the moon. And our good mate Johnny Portman was in that fleet.
Oh, cool.
Oh, the port dog.
There is talk that there's going to be a 51st class next year. Have you guys heard this one? Category 50, the 51st category.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do tell.
So what they're going to do is put together all the boats that have a tendency to nosedive under spinnaker and call it the Baccarati class.
Right, so that'll be the MC38s then, will it?
Patron Gordon Maguire.
How good would that be? I'd love it if the organisers did sort of class all those boats that do tend to stick the nose down and just put them all in just for that reason and call it, Baccarati's the obvious reason to call it. But anyway.
And by the way, the Red Wing Enigma, sailed by the Downer family, took it out. They won the Cows week.
Very cool.
Red Wing, it's kind of like a blown-up mirror, basically. Yep. It's got red sails.
Cool. What else?
What else have I got here, gents? Oh, the Copa del Rey. I mean, talk of sailing in paradise. This is where it's at. Always a great regatta. So just a shout out to them. Not going to go through all the divisions, but you'll be pleased to know, Jordan, being a man of consistency, in the ORC 1 fleet, 6 races, winner, 7 points. ORC 2 fleet, 6 races, winner, 6 points.
Yep.
So
there's
some dominance going on there. But also it's obviously one where the Club Swan 50s are Club Swan 42s as well. So, and that starts getting
popular with the Swans.
Starts getting mixed up around those things. And the last one mentioning, boys, is there's a crazy man out there.
Crazy man.
But he's an Austrian fella, Norbert Sedlacek Koch, who has an open 60, and he's going to attempt to become the first sailor ever to sail around the world single-handed, non-stop, without assistant, through the all 5 oceans, and among those are the Arctic and Antarctic Ocean. So it's his 5th trip around the world. So he's packing up, and that takes in a whole bunch, about 32,000 miles. So not for the light-hearted, especially where he's going. So good luck to him. I'll be keeping a bit of an eye on that.
So he's basically going to run north to south, back to north.
North to south, back to front, right to left, west to east. Yep. So Norbert.
By himself in knots, basically.
Best of luck, my friend.
Yeah. Best of luck indeed. And that's it. That's all you got? Because you missed 2 critical things.
All right, go on.
First off, America's Cup Barcelona. There's some good footage come out during the week.
I missed 3 critical things.
Yeah, there's 3 things. Yeah,
let's talk about this one first.
I'm really worried about the Cup in Barcelona. I think that the organisers have completely not considered something, and that is the spectators, the beautiful people, are going to be puking their guts up sitting out in that water because it's rough. If you watch anything on video, it's a lot smoother than it is in real life. And Barcelona, she's rough.
It can get rough, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of beautiful people that are going to have to run. Look, we should set up a dry cleaning shop, is what I'm thinking, in Barcelona.
Baccarati dry cleaning.
Baccarati dry cleaning, that's right.
We could also have some motion sickness tablets at
Yeah.
So Baccarati chemist.
Because it's going to be
the chemist
right next to the bar.
We could just nail this.
Yeah. Anyway, so for those planning on going, you might want to get your sea legs on board because it is definitely rough. I've watching some of the footage. Did you?
I'm guessing, Jordan, you referring to the LEQ12 testing that they were doing, the Ineos.
Yep.
Which, you've got boats flying around everywhere, trying to keep up, bouncing through waves, on and off waves. Not to mention, if you're just sitting there on the course trying to observe, would be a bit of heen.
There was some great footage. There was some great footage, wasn't there? Giles mentioned it, but the footage is actually quite cool, where you see them going up a wave, and just like a normal boat, it goes up a wave and keeps going, obviously. So it's got momentum. You've got that opposite sort of. It's not just flat water.
Yeah.
Cruising along on these foils. These foils, they're going to come out of the water, and then you got all sorts going on.
Yeah. The cycle. Remember that whole discussion about cycles going up each other's butts is going to be discovered. Lucky they've got the single helmet between the 4 of them. That's going to keep them in spot.
Our technique, yeah. Our
single helmet.
That was classic. That's a classic. That is.
What were the other 2 you've got, boss? Just so you...
Oh, well, first of all, you'll want to know, and this is probably the most important of the whole show, is that the rainbow that's being built.
Oh, yeah.
The deck's down and on. She's looking a treat. And then, of course, there's...
Southern's rig on that yet?
If you're listening out there, just feel free to give me a call.
Yeah,
And then, of course... I've got 2 more actually. One, but remind me, this is a rumor, but not this one, and that is Sci-Fi.
Yeah,
our good mate Sci-Fi
has
taken out the Magnus Olsen. What's the correct term?
Magnus Olsen Prize.
Magnus Olsen Prize, which has gone to various people in the past from all over the sport, as a matter of fact, including the likes of it. Like Grant Dalton, Ben Ainsley, and a whole bunch of others. So and it's basically for his service to yachting.
Awesome.
Yep.
Could you explain
Well
it that way?
deserved.
So is six back-to-back ocean races, and he's the first navigator to win it. And yeah. So just what he's done, it's a big honour, and obviously the reverse curse just keeps on giving. I'm not sure how much more we can keep giving, but very happy for Sci-Fi for the win there. Because
do we have to put some reverse curse bylaws in just to sort of keep control of this? Otherwise, people are going to expect too much.
Who knows which way it's going to go?
Yeah, who knows? Cool. Yeah, no, very happy for Sci-Fi.
Well done, Sci-Fi.
Yeah, great man.
Now, guys, this is by all means, this has nothing to do with any curse or anything. And I'm Jordan. I'm sure you're part of this as well on social media, and you shouldn't believe anything you read on the socials. But I did hear there's a bit of movement in the US Sail GP camp. Potential movement for a new helm.
Did we not say this just a week or two ago?
No, we did say it, but we didn't say who. And that the word being thrown around is Taylor.
Taylor Canfield.
Yeah.
I thought they might go with some youth.
Well, who knows?
Well,
believe what you will.
Yeah, no. But I'll tell you who Buddy Melge is for. He's steering pretty well at the moment. And I mean, he's got the name, but he'll be in the AC camp. I think he is in the AC team anyway. But,
yeah.
I thought he might be the one getting the call up. Is the honest. Actually, we'll give him a call.
It'd be a good chat.
But anyway, yeah, no surprise at all. Hey, like in the biggest of non-surprises ever announced.
We'd spoken about, and we knew there'd be some pressures, right? The trick now is, as CEO of the team, though, with Jimmy, how's all that work?
Yeah, I'm intrigued with that too, because that's exactly right. They'd have to buy him out maybe, or whether, who knows. But the fault
how the franchise works, exactly. Yeah,
we have to admit that we're to blame because you know who we have not had on the show.
Jimmy.
Yeah. And so there's no reverse
Well,
curse.
not for the want of trying.
Oh, have we? I've never. Have you?
No, we reached out during the Cup.
Oh, yeah.
During the Cup, but there was a media, what do you call it? The media bubble?
Yeah, a Baccarati ban. No, but you can do anything you want, but don't go on Baccarati, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I thought of some questions. Oh, right. Okay, now you two, I think at least one of you, but maybe two of you go.
Are we doing a bit of role playing here?
For the first cup. So go and get the media parts, right? And then I want the first question, I want one of you to, in the media, when you're in the interview with the sailors, what I want somebody to do, right, is one of you two is just going to go to whoever it is. Let's say it's Ben. Ben, can you just explain what happened today using your hands? So just describe
coming into the top mark that first time. I'm just a bit lost. Could you just draw a picture of sort of,
using your hands?
I like it.
I reckon. They'd all piss themselves laughing. They'd all piss themselves laughing. They know exactly.
And then we can make a meme where those sunglasses just drop on his face, cigarette pops out, and he's the coolest dude in town.
Oh dear.
Very good, lads.
Anything else?
No, all clear.
All clear.
All clear. Okay.
Ready for launch.
So BP, you are gone from tomorrow. So next week.
From tomorrow.
Next
I'll
week
be
is
coming to you live from
the continent.
I don't know where I'll be coming
the motherland.
From. Well,
the motherland.
I don't know. I might be down in Portugal.
Okay.
The uncle land.
Portuguese.
The dodgy uncle land.
Yes. So I don't know yet.
Good.
It's kind of a little bit up in the air, but anyway, either or, I'll be in the thick of the sailing for the rest of the summer. And getting stuck into it, trying to get in the water as much as possible.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
All
righty.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Well done.
It's a great week. Remember, of course, if you do go to Radix, radixnutrition.com or .com.au, just remember that use the tag Bar Karate, Barkarate, and you get a 10% discount ongoing for your Radix orders. So jump on board and get balanced nutrition anywhere.
Even in the most harshest conditions.